Hey guys, it's Marshall from Going Gear, and today I'm going to show you something that's really special to me. It's the first product from another company that I started called Numyth. Numyth is going to be a company we're going to have survival, outdoor, and other little gadgets, and the first product that we have is the Vulcan Fire Piston. So let me open this up, show you what you get on the inside. One thing you'll notice about the packaging is that I made it where you can actually reuse it. So it's a little Ziploc bag. When you take this stuff off, you still have a bag. I didn't want to have some packaging that's just a cardboard box that you're going to trash. I wanted something that you'd actually be able to reuse. So there's the bag. You have an instruction manual, some spare O-rings, because there are a lot of O-rings on this thing, so you have spares for all of that. The instruction manual shows you the operation, shows you how to care for it, has the warranty information, all the basic stuff you get in an instruction manual. So set that to the side. The other thing that you'll see here is lubricant, because there are O-rings on here and they are going against metal. The lubricant will help just make it all work a little bit better, and I'll talk about that more in just a little while. So here's the fire piston itself. Let's zoom in on it just so you can see it. You can see it's pretty compact. A lot of the other ones you'll see on the market are larger, made out of woods and other materials. This is made out of aerospace grade aluminum with a hard anodized type 3 coating on here, so really tough coating, really strong metal. You're not going to be able to hammer with it. Well, you probably could a few times, but it is aluminum, so I wouldn't recommend doing anything too brutal with it. But it's made to last a really long time. Strong aluminum, strong coating on there. So we're going to pull this out. You heard that pop there. It's because it's got a really nice seal on it due to this removable cap here on the bottom. So that does two things. You can see straight through there. One thing that it does is it allows you, because the char cloth that you're going to be using, other tinders and the lubricant, can sometimes gunk up on the inside there, so you'll be able to run a pipe cleaner or a cloth, paper towel, anything like that through there to be able to clean it out. The other thing that it does, which I really like, is you can put the piston in there, put the cap in the bottom. You can see it's all one piece, so you have the piston attached there. It's not going to fall out on you. You don't have to carry it in two pieces like some of the other fire pistons on the market. On the top here, you're probably wondering why the top is so big. Actually have storage in there, so you can see a little bit of char cloth in there. The ones you get won't come with that in there, so don't expect it. I was using this one earlier and then left a little bit of char cloth in there. But you can store your char cloth, any other tinder, or anything else you want to put in there. You can put a tiny little survival kit in there if you really want to. But it's O-ring sealed, square threads everywhere there are threads. So good seals, nice tight seals everywhere. So if you've never seen a fire piston before, let me show you how this thing actually works. See the little ember glowing there? You're probably wondering, if you've never seen a fire piston before, how on earth that works. It's kind of a little mystery the first time you see it. What it does is, if you're familiar with the way a diesel engine works by compressing air really rapidly, and it ignites that diesel fuel. Kind of the same principle here. When you're striking it down, it's compressing air really rapidly, and whatever you have here on the end in this little tinder notch, it ignites. If it's something that's easy to ignite, like char cloth, true tinder fungus, or anything similar that ignites easily. And obviously you want something that's not just going to ignite, but it's going to stay lit for a little while, like char cloth, so you can have an ember, put that in a tinder bundle, put that in a larger piece of char cloth, or anything similar to get your fire going. Alright, let me give you a little bit better explanation of how to actually use this thing instead of just how it works. I have this mouse pad here. You don't need anything like this. I just have this on the board because this is the one that I use for the flashlight videos, and I'm trying to keep it from getting all tinted up. So you don't need anything like this. It's easier to strike it onto a surface. You can do it into the palm of your hand as well, but obviously repeated striking into the palm of your hand probably is not going to feel all that great. So strike it onto the ground, some dirt, anything that's basically not concrete or rock or anything like that. Not that it won't work, but it could possibly, eventually over time, start to damage where you're striking on the fire piston. So I'd recommend striking onto something that has a little bit of give, like wood or the earth or anything like that. So the way to actually get it to work is, like I said, you need something that easily ignites. And we have these little rolls of char cloth, and these are definitely the preferred way to go. So what you need to do is just take and tear off a little piece. You don't need a whole lot. That's actually way too much, so we're going to tear that about in half. And we're going to take it, fold it up, and we're going to stick it in the notch. Now the notch here is made to hold the tinder in there really well. Let me actually zoom in on that just so you can see it a little bit better. You can see it's got kind of sharp edges on there, so it holds the tinder in there really well. But I like to leave a little bit sticking out just so it's easier to knock out or flick out once you actually do get the ember going. So we have that in there. You want to make sure you have a little bit of lubrication on the O-rings. You don't want a ton because it can get gunked up and you can get it on the char cloth, make it a little bit harder to ignite. So what I like to do is, you don't necessarily need to take the included one. What I usually do is I'll take and undo the cap here on the bottom, just run my fingers across that, take some of the lubricant that's on there, that's either there from the factory or some extra that you put on there, that or the lubricant up here, and just kind of wipe that across the O-rings. You need just a tiny bit, you don't need a whole lot. So you have the char cloth or your other tinder in the little tinder notch. Take and stick it into the end there, grip it like this. You've got knurling all over this thing so you can get a nice easy grip on it. You can see got a little bit of an angle there, so it's going to naturally hold into your hand. It's not going to slip out very easily at all. I have it zoomed in so you can see the process a little bit better. Now when you're striking down, you don't want to strike down so hard that you're breaking your hand or the fire piston or anything else. You want to get it 6 to 8 inches off the ground and just smack it down. You need this to compress all the way down to this. You want that rapid air compression because the end of the piston is going to go all the way down. You want it to do that as quickly as possible. So just take it 6 to 8 inches off the ground, smack it down, pull it off immediately like that. Here you can see you got your little ember glowing. You can take that, flick it off into your tinder bundle, flick it off into another piece of char cloth. Maybe give it a little bit more air like that just to keep it going. And you use that to start your fire. Obviously you have to have decent fire starting skills to be able to use a little ember like this to get a fire going. That is not in the scope of this video. Maybe we'll cover that in a future video. Actually, we definitely will. But so you can use that to get your fire going. Okay, that was the fun part of the video. Now we're going to get to some really boring stuff, the troubleshooting. I will be the first person to admit that starting a fire with a fire piston that creates an ember or any other kind of ember is not the easiest thing to do in the world. You have to be skilled at that kind of stuff. You have to be good at starting fires. You have to know what a tinder bundle is and all that kind of stuff, because if you don't, you're probably not going to be able to get a fire going. So if you're thinking this is like a giant butane torch, it definitely isn't. But if you know what you're doing, you have the right conditions, this can be very reliable, and it can be a really good way of starting a fire. And at the very least, it's a really cool toy to play with. Alright, so for troubleshooting, you can see just on the few times that I've used it, you can see this stuff start to accumulate there on the O-rings. Those O-rings started out as pure white. So the char cloth, the lubricant, stuff just starts mixing together. So one thing that you can do is, if you're having trouble getting an ember going, is just wipe those off. Just use your fingers or a cloth, just wipe them off, get the gunk off of there, add a little bit more lubricant on there, make sure it has a nice tight seal. That said, you can have the same thing inside the tube. So take the cap off, look inside the tube, run a pipe cleaner through there, a thin piece of cloth, anything that'll go all the way through. You can pull it out the other end to get the gunk out. This down here has to have a good seal as well, so you want to make sure this O-ring is in good shape. Make sure there's some good lubrication on this down here. Not as essential, but it's a good idea to have lubrication just to make sure the threads are operating properly and you have a good seal down there. So make sure you have good seals down there and make sure everything's clean. And those are basically all the things that you would cover in the fire piston itself. Now that said, when you're using char cloth, true tinder fungus, anything like that, you have to make sure what you're using is good quality. A really good measure of good char cloth is if you take a fire steel or a lighter or anything else that's going to get this char cloth going, take and just put that lighter or fire steel to it, get a spark on it, see if an ember is created first, and see if that ember keeps on going without you doing anything to it. So good char cloth, you should be able to put an ember on there and it should keep on glowing without you having to blow on it, without you having to throw more sparks on it or anything like that. So if you have all of that on there, you have good char cloth, you have good tinder fungus, you should be able to get something going pretty easily. If you don't, shoot us an email, we'd be more than happy to help. Okay, that is the Vulcan Fire Piston. First product from my new company, Numyth. Got a lot more products coming out soon. Some pretty soon, some later this year, some in future years, but we got a lot of stuff planned. So this is the first one. check out new stuff that we've got coming out. We're going to have them, of course, all on goinggear.com, and we'll have a new website set up devoted to the company, numyth.com. We'll have that up and ready to go pretty soon. We'll have videos for all the stuff, in-depth videos. We'll show you how to make fires with these kind of things and all that kind of stuff. So get it right now at goinggear.com. Get it pretty soon at numyth.com. If you have any questions, you can reach us at goinggear.com or in the comments. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. Thanks for watching.